Hey there, this is Andrea TheoJohn, your 40-year-old bride, here to bring you the very best tips in dating, engagement, marriage, relationships in general. I am not a relationship expert, however, I'm a human being just like you, and what I really wanted to see was more content geared towards 40-year-old brides, 40-year-old dating women, because everything seems geared towards the 20-somethings, and the 40-somethings, we're a whole different experience. And we need a whole different level of content. So here I am, here to bring it for you. And I've got my first guest I'm so excited to bring to you today. My friend here, Corrida Greene. We are both Clemson gals and sorors. We're both in the same sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, if you did not know. And she's absolutely marvelous. She's based in the Charleston area, Moncks Corner area, and is a inventor and entrepreneur in her own right. Got several businesses under her belt, which you'll hear about soon, and you'll also see that in the show notes and in the comments below. You can find that information in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on podcast, you can also find it in the show notes area. In this final episode with Corrida, we are going to be talking about a couple of things of extreme interest, let me tell you. The first is the importance of hope. So critical. The next is actually my story. We got into my own story. So the Andrea and Marc getting married at 40 story. So we'll share about that. We'll also talk about the importance of being open to where you find your next relationship. Very, very critical. We'll be discussing whether or not it can work the second time around. Is that possible? We'll also talk about why you shouldn't just jump into another marriage right away. And I weighed in on this one too because, my hubby was an ex, so he had been divorced. And so, I have a whole storyline. You'll learn about that in the A&M story that we share. And finally, we'll discuss what a single, established, self-sufficient woman, we're not using the term Miss Independent because Corrida doesn't like that, so she prefers self-sufficient. I can roll with it. So what does a single, established, self-sufficient woman, i.e. in her 40s, what is she looking for now in a potential new partner? We'll talk about that. So guys, in particular, pay attention. And ladies, compare your list. Does it match up or no? And finally, we'll talk about how to reach Corrida. So in particular, for those who could be interested, we'll talk about how to get to her. All right, let's go.
So the only other thing that I wanted to add was it's so important to have hope. If you believe that there is no hope for your future, if you believe that you're going to be single for the rest of your life, if you believe that no one's going to be interested in you, then those things that you think and you believe, that's going to become your reality. But if you have hope for the future, then you open yourself up to the possibilities that lie therein. So all those things, yes, but also you have to have hope.
I could not agree more. Honestly, I think I shared this with a therapist who was interviewing me on her channel about, do you believe in love still? And we were talking about dating, and how so many friends, guys and girls alike, and all kinds of sexuality orientations, it hardly even matters. There's so many, and I know you see this, Charleston area and all that as well. People they think it's the city. They're like, I gotta move because there's nobody here.
Nothing's here.
City. Yeah, they think so highly of another city, and they're like, I'm gonna move to Atlanta, or I'm gonna move to Charlotte, or I'm gonna go to,
right,
because I heard it's so amazing there, and I'm definitely gonna find love there. And I just subscribe to the philosophy that it's not the place. Like love will find you, and love can be found wherever you are. I just believe that there's something for you wherever you are in space and time, and wherever you're placed. it doesn't matter what stage of life you're in, there's always going to be someone there.
Yes.
Who was made for you, so that's the hope piece that you do believe. If you believe that, then you're right. And if you don't believe that, then you're also right.
You're also right. Exactly right.
If you really believe there's no one here, you'll never find them, because
that's right.
You won't be looking and they won't be looking for you.
And in this age, this online age we're living in with social media, I mean, there are just so many possibilities and opportunities if you're open to it. So I agree completely. It's all about mindset and being open, honey. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. That's how Marc and I found each other. It was unexpected.
What? Are you serious?
Through LinkedIn Business.
What? Yes.
Yeah. He's an architect, and at the time I was working for a company that they are in that space of architecture, construction, engineering. And I was going through this project of working out their first top 10 projects of all time. And one of his projects was a Center for Civil and Human Rights here in Atlanta, uncovering that piece. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, because it's about Black people mostly.
Yes.
Black History Month was coming up in a couple months, and I was like, this is going to be great. We're going to release it during Black History Month. It makes so much sense. And just trying to find out information about that project, everyone was like, you got to talk to Marc Johnson. You got to talk to Marc Johnson.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, I'll go find this Marc Johnson, even though you, Fender.
Right.
So I went and found him on LinkedIn, and he just looks so cute, but you can't really tell.
Right.
I don't get my hopes up too much, because I'm like, hey, this is Atlanta. You never know what you're going to get.
You never know. Yeah.
And I was like, B, this is professional. But I did notice it, and I was like, all right, then. Well,
open. Yeah. You saw him and you're like, hey.
The brother. So I asked him for coffee at Starbucks.
Oh, you asked him out first? Girl, you better.
Well, because it was under the safe guise of business, because I was like, hey, everyone says I need to talk to you. I would love to get your story for this blog post. And so just meet up, and then you can fill me in. And so we agreed to meet at a little Starbucks that he picked. Yeah, it was all on from there, except
that's so sweet.
He's so professional. Like, I didn't know for so many months that he was even interested. Like, I knew he liked me. I knew he liked my company, because we became like little happy hour buddies after that for a while. But he never came on to me. Like, I was really confused. Like, I was like, I like him. I like hanging out with him. But I can't tell. Like, I really can't tell. Because most guys will be real clear up front, and they flirt with you. And so flirting. And so it's all because he kind of met me in the phase that you're in now, where he was separated for a while, and his divorce was pending, and all that. And I was like, oh, I get it.
That's what it is. It makes it so complicated.
Yeah. So,
so he saw you, girl. He saw you from day one, honey.
He did. He kept it all to himself. I have never met someone with a great poker face, but when he finally did reveal his cards, then he shared how he really felt when we first met, and all this, and when he thought he fell in love, and all that kind of cool stuff. So
that's so sweet.
Just be open. It can come through business. It can come through a random networking thing you don't even think. You've got your professional face on, and it could totally share. So that's where we spend all our time anyway, is business.
Right. Exactly. Especially whether, like you said, whether it's corporate, whether we're growing our own businesses, we spend so much time in that space. So yeah, you do have to be open. That's such a beautiful story, girl. I did not know.
There's so much to it. He actually, I know we're going into so much extra detail, but after I wrote that little blog post that he helped me with, and it was all about him, and I was just trying to be like a really great creative writer, but I described him and his physical stature in the beginning of the blog post, and just how he had this very deep, very white voice, and just a picture of what he looked. And
dark and handsome, honey.
Yeah, tall, dark, and handsome. Yeah. And so he said he knew he was in love when he read that.
Oh my
And his
goodness.
mother read it and she was like, "Who is this? Because they seem like they know you so well." And I was just, dude, that's just me doing creative writing, honey.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
That's so sweet.
I'm just trying to write a cool article. But,
That
but
was
he
the
really
hook, girl.
he took that to heart, like she sees me, And so
Yeah.
yeah,
That is
that's a whole nother video
amazing.
for another day too.
That's amazing, though. So you are a living testament that it can happen literally anywhere. That's so beautiful.
Yes,
That is
so keep your
beautiful.
eyes open, honey. They can be anywhere, as you already know.
Exactly right. Oh, there was one other thing. So one other thing I wanted to touch on in accepting that it's over is that sometimes it's really not over. A lot of people say that when you've been with someone that if it didn't work the first time, it'll never work again. And that's not the case in every situation. Sometimes there are exceptions to the rule, especially where there's not a lot of growth and development that's taking place for either party. Sometimes you just need a little space and time to grow. And it's important to be able to recognize that and be okay with letting go and trusting that when the time is right, it'll come back together. That is not the case for everyone. Let me be clear. A lot of times, if you have to let it go, it's because you need to let it go.
Yeah.
Really, like, and it's important to own that. But every now and then, sometimes there hasn't been enough work put into your own growth and development, and you happen to connect with someone who is in the same boat. And so, because you all never really grew up, you couldn't really build a life because that's something that only two adults can do. So if you are both existing in an immature or underdeveloped space, it's going to be virtually impossible to build. Whereas when you mature, when you grow, you open yourself up to an understanding outside of your own. That's a space that you might be able to build with that person. So definitely to each his own. I just didn't want to make it seem like completely letting go forever and never being with that person ever again is completely off the table, because that's not the case. Sometimes you can come back together, but it is important to let it go, even if there's a possibility in the future. Because if you try to carry the past into the future, you never really work through all of those issues. So you need to let them go for a period of time anyway, even if you have hope for the future.
That is such a great point. Girl, we will be here talking all day. So I have to tell you, so now you made me think about this. I have to tell you about this. So Marc and I had a break like that.
Really?
That we
See?
did.
Oh my God.
Did because he was kind of ready. You know how we were talking before, and I think we skipped around a bit to our listeners. So you're going to hear about this tip in just a minute. You know how you were like, you shouldn't jump directly into another relationship. And I felt like even though Marc was separated for a while, they hadn't lived apart for a while and for as long as they were separated. And I just felt like he needed more of that time, to do some of that work of getting to know who you are by yourself again and getting your mojo back. Because honestly, you know, I I felt like I couldn't respect him if he
Yeah.
hadn't done that, because it felt too desperate. Like
Yes. They're
he was like,
looking to replace.
yeah, it's like he already knew. It's like he already made up in his mind, like, I want you.
Mhm.
I don't have any questions about that, blah, blah, blah. My mom thought this was crazy of me, and maybe it was, I don't know, but she was like, you should have never done that. And I was like, but I told him, like, we need to, we need a break. Like, you need to see other people. You need to date other people. I don't want to be your first date and your lockdown person right after your divorce.
Yeah.
Just don't want to be that person. And I really feel like you need that time. And we had a break like that.
Wow. Oh my
He
goodness.
did date other people. It was weird, but I just was
Yeah.
like, either he has that break or I don't think it can work because just
Because you won't be confident that it's really you. I
Exactly.
totally get that.
Thank you. I'm so glad someone
I,
did that. Yeah, my mom was like, why
yeah,
would you do that? No.
yeah,
Like, I just think it's the right thing. And he did not want to do it. He was like, and he kind of had that fear, like, if we are not together,
yeah,
what happens if I find someone else and we fall in love and all that? And my mindset was, if that happens, it was meant to be. And
yeah,
that to me, that's meant to be. And if I come back to you, that's meant to be. So you do have
that's
a
right.
about, you know, that piece about accepting that it's actually over. Sometimes it's just a break for good.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, it did happen to work out, but I do think, to your point, it's not always like that. So
Yes, it's definitely an exception to the rule for sure. And you're right. It's different when you're separated and you're not living together. That's a real separation. So I don't blame you one bit for saying, wait a minute, you guys were separated, but you were still in that same space. I need to make sure that you are really sure that's I to me, that's wisdom, and I get it. Like moms, they can be old school. Like my mom is like that too. And I think to a certain extent, we kind of also can be a little, we have those influences, those old school kind of influences. But at the same time, because of our own awareness, we know, wait a minute, let's make sure you're good. So I think that was wise.
thank you. It was definitely a hard call though. It wasn't the easiest call, but yeah, I think it was good at the end of the day.
Hmm.
So.
For sure.
So we know currently you're in the market. So I'm just gonna put you out there with what your top three things you're looking for, which is someone who's Holy Spirit filled,
Yes.
established, and
Yes.
who knows how to cherish you. Um,
Yes.
so big. And
Oh my goodness.
so as we're getting out of here, just paint for us a quick picture of your dream marriage. Like, what do you see? So if future hubby is out there listening, or future friend or whatever.
Future
Um,
friend, future
yeah.
whatever.
What should
Yes.
they know about your idea of your ideal, beautiful vision of a future relationship?
Well, you touched on it already. Holy Spirit filled has to be Christ centered. Without that, there's really no purpose. And it's so important for everything that I do to be driving God's agenda, which is thy kingdom come, thy will be done. So even in my relationship, we've got to be Christ centered together. We have to be able to communicate. I need to be able to talk to you, and I need you to talk to me. I understand that men communicate differently from women. So it's important for me that I'm with someone that understands I might not communicate the same way that he does, but is willing to hear me just as I'm willing to hear him, even if the way it comes across is not something that I'm so comfortable with, right? Because I know sometimes as women, we can go into all these details and they just kind of want to know, what is it, just
Yeah.
be direct, So communication, what is your life assignment? Are you aware? Are you ambitious? Are you striving to be your best self? Are you in pursuit of your best self? Because I am. And I know that if we don't have that in common, it's not going to work. We'll just begin to separate. Those things are really important to me. Establishment is everything because that includes security. I need to feel safe. So I don't like to say independent woman only because sometimes I think that is interpreted with the masculine energies. For me, I am a very self sufficient woman, but it is important that the man in my life brings security and establishment to my world. I need to be able to feel like I can take my cape off when I come home. I don't want to leave my cape on in the house and be flying around. No, let me be vulnerable because I want that. I need to be able to be soft and feminine when I'm home. And I want to be able to enjoy that with you. So I want to welcome your masculinity and your strength and your point of view. So those things are really important to me. That establishment and that security, that also means you're self aware as well. And so your own self awareness combined with your desire to grow To me, all of that is establishment. And then you got to cherish me. And that's self-explanatory. I mean, I need to know, I need to see it in your eyes. I call it the Obama look. If you don't look at me like Obama looks at Michelle, I don't want it. I don't want it. You don't really love me. So yeah, just really cherishing me, understanding what you have in me, understanding the value that I bring to the table. Well, I think value is innate in and of itself. Because of Christ's sacrifice for us, we have unlimited value. I do believe that we women, we are treasures. And so I need you to show me that you recognize that you have a treasure in me. And so that is not always elaborate gifts. Sometimes it's just the sensitivity of what I need in the moment. Sometimes it's just spending time and thinking of me. So making sure that I know you're mindful of me, even that can just be cherishing. Yes. So
hearing you silently, like she's speaking all my language. Yes.
That's what it is, though. Those are the things that are important to me, and we can make magic, you know. So
Love that. Love that. Okay, well, guys who happen to be listening, you've heard it straight from Corrida, from this gem who is here. And so if you're interested,
from
I'm
a
sure
gym
you can
to a gym.
thank you. I'm sure you can figure out how to reach her. Corrida, tell us how we can support you going forward. Briefly, I know we mentioned in the intro about your business and all of that. Do you care to share how people can find out more about that if they'd like?
Yes. So I will tell you CMG Holdings Company.com. That is my company site where you can actually see my IP, my intellectual property. I invented a product called WipeRite Gloves that revolutionized the way we clean, because we created an all-in-one cleaning glove. So the glove itself does the cleaning, and we're currently in the product development phases of that now. And I also am the owner of Ascend Virtual Solutions, which is a virtual call center. So we provide a win-win-win solution for customers that hate language barrier experiences, companies that need to protect their bottom line, and also Americans that need to earn some extra money while working from home. So I've got agents across the US, and I'm so excited to be able to help them in their life's journey. So you can find out more about me on that website, and you can support me there, whether it is referring someone for employment that needs to earn some extra money for the holidays, or if you want to support my product invention, WipeRite Gloves.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Corrida. It's been such a pleasure having you on here.
Yes.
We'll have to have you back again sometime.
I would love to come back. This was so much fun.
Definitely a pleasure. Okay, and that's a wrap for our final episode with Miss Corrida Greene, my soror, my fellow Clemson Tiger. I hope you enjoyed this fantastic, timely, much needed series. I hope it gives you hope on your journey of trying to discover and navigate this world of love in your 40s. And if you're not in your 40s, wherever you are, I wish you luck on your journey. I wish you blessings and good luck to you. Let me know how you're doing in your journey below in the comments here on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on podcast, you can rate and review us and leave your comments there in your review, which is totally fine. And you can also find us at Andrea TheoJohn on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those places, TikTok. You can connect with me there and share your comments there if you like. Also, subscribe to our emails at 40yearoldbride.com. That's where you can get the latest information on these episodes and when the next one's coming up, and so that way you don't miss them. If you're listening to this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to this channel and like and comment on this video. That super helps. Thank you very much. And if you're, again, listening to this on podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you are, be sure to rate and review us and subscribe so that you don't miss these episodes, because we want to have you back. All right, my dears, thank you so much. I enjoy having you. Cheers and be blessed.